What's going on, Overlay Sports? Back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a 7-round New York Giants mock draft. As, of course, the draft is starting in a little under 4 hours tonight. I am fired up for the draft. So excited to see what the Giants do. So excited to see the moves around the NFL, because this is, out of all the years that I can really remember, this is the one draft that's really, like, you don't even know what's going to happen at pick 2. Usually you have an idea the first 4 or 5 picks. You have an idea, a pretty good idea of what it's going to be. We have no idea this year what's going to happen. But I am fired up for tonight. I'm really excited to see the new, who the New York Giants decide to go with, and really throughout the whole weekend. And we're going to start off with the 5th pick. And I actually think that the Giants are going to be trading this pick. I think they're going to trade it back, because I think Arvell Reese or David Bailey, at this point, I think it's going to be Arvell Reese, that falls all the way to the Giants at 5. And I think that teams like the Saints, teams like the Chiefs, are going to call the Giants to try and move up and take that guy. And what are the Giants going to get? Well, they only have to move back a couple spots to either 8 or 9, and they'll recoup a second-round pick in that process. And so I think that they trade one to either one of those two teams, the Saints or the Chiefs, and they move back to 8 or 9. I think they select Caleb Downs with that first pick. And right after that, they take Jordan Tyson at 10. These are two positions that the Giants could use help with. Our secondary hasn't been very good over the last few years, and so it would be tremendous if the Giants could help out that secondary and get the Ohio State safety, one of the best prospects in this draft class, a freak athlete, one of my favorite players in the class. It would be amazing if they can land Caleb Downs. And then at 10, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, the wide receiver. There's injury concerns there with his injuries and the turf at MetLife, but I actually think, it was a freak play, the ACL that he had. I think the only injury you have to worry about is the hamstring with him, about it reoccurring, but I think he is too good to pass up on. I think he's such a good prospect, and I think that the Giants are in love with him. You could tell, the dinners and after his pro day, a bunch of teams went, but the Giants spent the most time with him by the sound of it. And so I don't know if he'll even get to 10, but if he does get to 10, I think that's the route they go. Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State, they pair him up with Malik Neighbors, a good 1-2 punch to help Jackson Dart for the future. And then with the Giants' second-round pick at 37, I think they go interior offensive line, and they take Chase Bisontis from Texas A&M. He can play the guard for the Giants, the right guard spot. That's really the one position we need help with on that O-line. You shore up that right guard's position. We have depth at the position with Falele. Maybe they sign Greg Van Roten, and they kind of compete for that job. But it's an exciting pick for sure. The Giants need help at that right guard position. They have their left tackle, right tackle with Andrew Thomas, Jermaine Illuminor. The right guard and their center are good for now, Runyon and John Michael Schmitz. So Bisontis from Texas A&M will help out that right side. You take a right guard there. You fill up that 5th spot on that O-line, the weakest part, and you get it rolling. And then with the second-round pick that they recoup from the trade back, I think they go D-line, whether that is Caleb Banks or Peter Woods or Caden McDonald from the Ohio State, the defensive lineman, to kind of pair him up with DJ Reader, because it seems like that's who the Giants are going to bring in, and that's the replacement for Dexter Lawrence. I went with Caden McDonald in this situation because on the mock draft simulator, that's who was available, but I also really like him. I like the idea of pairing up Ohio State players with Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald, and the next pick that I'll get into in a second. But Caden McDonald can really help out the Giants. Him and DJ Reader, they can both get after the pass. They can help stop the run. That would make it a little bit better. You're not going to replace Dexter Lawrence completely, but you need to try and fill the gap that he is leaving behind. And I think Caden McDonald does that. A really good prospect, a guy who could definitely be a back end of the first-round pick. But I think by the time the Giants are picking at 37, or if they recoup another second, I think one of those three defensive linemen will be there, whether that be Woods, Banks, or McDonald. I don't think all three will be off the board. Maybe the Giants have to move up a couple spots if they get scared. Two of them are off, but I really like McDonald, and I would be ecstatic if that's how the first 4 picks went. If they can trade back, still get Downs and Tyson, take a guard, and take a D lineman. And then at 105, they go the Ohio State cornerback, Davison Igbinosun. The Giants need help at the secondary. We talked about it with the Downs pick. Of course, Adebo is a candidate after next season, so I think we'll bring in a corner fairly early, whether it'll be Mansour, Delane, or in the second round. I don't think they do it that early, but I think 4th round is a good time to do that. Davison Igbinosun from the Ohio State. You get a couple guys from that Ohio State secondary, pair them up with the D lineman from there, and I think it just makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm really interested and intrigued in that pick. And then at 145, I got the Giants going Harold Perkins Jr., the linebacker from Louisiana State, LSU. This is a guy who really is, over the past couple years, has fallen down. He's fallen down mock draft. Still a really, really athletic player. He's got really good traits. And anytime you're getting a guy that was once supposed to be a top round or 2 prospect, get him later in the draft, I think it makes sense. You got to take a flyer on the guy. The Giants could take a linebacker in Sonny Styles way earlier in the first round, top 5. They could do it. But in this scenario, they don't. And I think they take a linebacker at some point over the weekend. I think Harold Perkins Jr. is just a prospect that would excite a lot of people. I think he was eligible last year but didn't go because injury history and a lot of stuff. But he's a guy that, he can really, really be a hit at that spot. So, we'll ultimately see what happens. But I love the idea of Harold Perkins Jr. at 145 from LSU. And then at 186, Kaytron Allen, the running back from Penn State. You pair him up with Cam Skattebo, of course. I think, Skattebo, Allen, and Tracy would be quite the trio in that backfield. Kaytron Allen, of course, was him and Singleton was the duo there at Penn State. And I think it just makes a lot of sense to maybe get a later round running back. I know Jeremiah loves a possibility if he leaks out to 5. I don't think he gets to 5. If he does, I think the Giants will take him. But I think Allen would be a really good pick later on in the draft. It would make a lot of sense to just try and get a guy in there. It doesn't cost you anything to really bring in a 5th or 6th round pick at running back and just let him compete in camp and play with Tracy, play with Skattebo, and see what it can be. I think it would be a good pick. And then at 192, Isaiah World, the tackle from Oregon. The Giants have back-to-back picks there. So I went 192, Isaiah World, the tackle from Oregon. Just kind of get a tackle in there. He's just a project at tackle. And then at 193, Tim Keenan III, the defensive lineman from Alabama. Just bring in some guys, in the trenches. You're not expected to hit on, they're not supposed to be Pro Bowl players in the 6th and 7th round. You just need to get guys in there that are somewhat serviceable and can be depth. And so you get a guy at tackle, offensive tackle, and defensive line, and just hope that they can turn out to something. Even if it's depth, it's a hit at that spot. So those are the picks, Isaiah World and Tim Keenan III at 192 and 193. But this is my mock. I really hope the Giants are able to nail this draft. It's an important draft. They need to nail it, and I hope we have a good weekend. You guys let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on my mock. Who do you think the Giants are going to take 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way through the 7th round? Let me know all that good stuff down below in the comment section. As always, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. See you guys on the next video, and as always, let's go Giants.